Hello you grand uppers and welcome to my review of Streets of Rage 4. And firstly I just want to say I was worried for nothing. Okay, when I first saw the trailers and saw the art style, I'll be honest, I wasn't happy with it at all. Even now I'm still not particularly a big fan of the art style. I think it's good for the enemies. However, I guess it's more so the character designs of the main characters I don't really like. For example, Axel on certain frames he looks really fat even though he's got these massively muscular arms, and I'm sick and tired of all these characters now having beards because, you know, it's the cool thing, I guess. I'm still not a fan of all the character designs. Some of the other characters, it's not so much of an issue. Like Blaze, she looks cool. It's just one of those things that is very subjective. I mean, it is anyway, whether you like a game or not. Just for the art style, I don't know, overall, the art style's not so bad. Environments look fantastic. The attention to detail and the Easter eggs in the environments as well is just incredible. Yeah, it's just the main character designs I'm not really a fan of. Let me actually get all the other issues I have with the game. So, firstly, there's no sprinting. You can do like the double tap forwards and then do your special moves, or there is a side step for one of the characters. It's very frustrating considering Streets of Rage 3 had sprinting, which made it a lot of fun to play because everything was fast paced. You could sprint to and from the next character after your combos. It was really good to being able to do that. Whereas now you've almost got to go back a bit into Streets of Rage 2 or even Streets of Rage 1 mode and to get used to not being able to sprint everywhere, or just do your little dash or forward roll or whatever to get out of the way and dodge attacks. There's the usual cutscenes which you have after each stage, but there's no voice acting, and some of the cutscenes actually get a little bit lengthy, so you kind of wish that you could actually have the voice acting going along, because sometimes you're just reading that, you're not really paying attention because you want to look at everything, and then that's it, it's just kind of gone. So it would be nice if there was the option whether to have the voice acting or just turn it off. That'd just be something they could add, but I don't know, it's almost like it's 2020 and we should have the choice whether you want voice acting or not. Also, another thing is that there's loads of unlockable characters. I think 12 overall, if my counting's any good. 12 unlockable characters. One of them is not Rue. And what's really annoying is that they put Rue in as an Easter egg in one of the levels where he's behind the bar as a bartender. And it's just kind of like in your face, like, oh, we've done all the art for him, but we're not actually going to put him in as an unlockable character. Pretty much everyone else is, other than Ash, but I can understand why Ash isn't a choice, especially in this day and age where you can't unlock Ash, and he was only in the Japanese version anyway. But yeah, it just seems a bit stupid that Rue, which, I mean, if I asked my brother, can you name some of the characters from Streets of Rage, he would say Rue almost immediately, so... And he's not even that big of a fan of the series, we just played it a lot together. Overall, that's pretty much all of the issues I have. There is one other thing, one big issue that I had quite a few times, which you might see a little bit actually in this gameplay footage. There's environmental options where you can use, like there's a car that will appear and you can hit someone onto the car, or you get hit onto it. There's no getting hit off screen or hitting enemies off screen, because now it makes no sense in the real world, but on the sides of the screens they're now like invisible walls, so they bounce off them. And the biggest issue I have is that sometimes it's completely unavoidable when you just get stun locked by one person using like an alchemy potion and it explodes, and then next thing you know you've hit one obstacle and you just keep getting hit by different characters or different items. This happened to me once, no joke, this was just on normal. I went from 80% of my health to just a death because I got hit 8 times on different areas, whether it was the wall or it was a motorbike or it was a potion. I couldn't stand up because you just bounce around and air juggle. So if you're a fan of Tekken, you're used to that anyway, being air juggled everywhere. But for Streets of Rage, that's a little bit different to what I'm used to. So just the fact that I was getting thrown about like some kind of ragdoll and had no control over it, that was really frustrating. Anyway, so enough of me bashing on the game. Let's just get into the list of really good things that I like about it. Like I said about not being able to sprint, everything else is fantastic. Just the way it still feels amazing to just chain combos together. And the best part is that it's almost seamless, the way you go from your regular combo to then doing your special combo, then to doing your special star move as well. It's just great being able to rack up 100 plus hits on just a casual combo. Just like, oh, okay, yeah, I suppose I'll just do 150 hits to these 10 people in front of me. It's really good, really easy to be able to bash through different combos. It's so much fun, so much joy is just hitting people. Don't read into it too much. Another thing is that if you get knocked down onto the floor, which kind of leads into my environmental combos thing, is that if you get knocked down on the floor, you can quickly spring up, and that just completely negates you just staying down for a while. So you quickly back up and then back into the action. Unfortunately, yeah, if you are caught in those combos, you just can't do that because you don't ever land on the floor. You're just too busy being in the air and just bouncing off of people. The biggest thing I would like to see is if there was, let's hope there's Streets of Rage 5, but have the parry system from Street Fighter 3. So you have to do the correct button press to like cancel out an attack, and then you don't take any damage from it, which I think would be a great way for people to get used to the timing on keeping their combos going, instead of just one guy just going little jab and it just stops your combo, say 90 something, so you're obviously a bit sad about it. But having that option to parry would make the skill level just skyrocket, so you could be amazing at this game if you just can time parries really well. That would be an amazing thing to do, and it's tough to, if you get the timing right, make it difficult, but it'd just be really good if there was like a little parry system that you could have. The difficulty of the game is spot on. It's, if you were playing the old Streets of Rage games, it's tough when it really needs to be. Not particularly unfair. There are very few moments where I'm like, that was unfair. Like I said, it's just the environmental things. Sometimes you're just caught in it. That just happens. But that was the only real time I felt like, oh my god, there's just nothing I could do, or that's just stupid. The bosses, all fantastic bosses. They all stand out. They all felt different when you were fighting each of them. None of them you really played the same. You had to try and figure out their patterns, which is something we're not really used to in this day and age. But follow the patterns and then take the bosses out, which is great. No different to the older games. Like I said, there's loads of unlockable characters as well. There's also unlockable modes. You've got a boss rush mode, you've got an arcade mode where you have to try and complete the whole game with just 1 credit, as it were. So you get whatever it is, 2 lives, and you have to complete the whole game on those 2 lives, which is a great addition. And also you've got the duel mode. I forget what the actual name is, but it's the duel mode where you just do 1v1s against like your friends, which I'm glad they kept that in there. Another stupid thing is you can change the food. So if you didn't want to eat a chicken, you can have some ramen instead, or if you didn't want to have an apple, you can have a little sushi roll. That's a choice as well. I just thought that was a fun, stupid little thing that they added. And finally, what I'll get onto is the music. Of course I'm going to talk about the music in Streets of Rage, how can I not? Where would I rank this? I would say okay, it's not as good as Streets of Rage 1 or 2. It's better than 3, but it's not as good as Streets of Rage 1 or 2. There's some incredible songs, don't get me wrong, some really, really good songs. However, there's a lot of just clunkers. They're just like, oh, okay, that they've just added dubstep to it, or just made it too gritty, but there's nothing to really get your blood pumping, or it just doesn't quite fit the theme. That was a shame, but honestly, go on Spotify. I checked Streets of Rage 4 soundtrack. Go give it a listen. Like, even if you don't play the game, just go give the soundtrack a listen. There are some really, really good songs in there. But yeah, there are just a few songs. But, you know, it's going to happen. So yeah, that's it. I'm super happy. Like I said, I was really worried when I first saw the game, and I'm so glad that they proved me wrong. Just so glad that this game is amazing. Now that I'm done with the review, I'm going to go back and play some more. So yeah, bye, go play it. It's like 20 quid. So yeah, there's no reason not to. And you can play it online, even though the online's a little bit finicky, but that's not the game's fault. It's the netcode's fault. So blame, I don't know, Sega for that. But yeah, thanks for watching the review, and I'm so glad Streets of Rage 4's back. It's only been 25 years.